Paul has spent the last part of Ephesians chapter 4 giving a lengthy list of ethical demands for the life of the Christian. In verse 32, Paul begins to sum up everything that he has just said in one statement. And he gives us a command for living life. And it's simply this: be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God in Christ Jesus has forgiven you. Can you imagine what a better place this world would be if we all lived by those simple principles? Being kind to one another, tender-hearted, and forgiving one another. Paul says, first of all, be kind to one another. You know, kindness is based on the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. To understand kindness, let's look at the negative side of that. When a person is kind, it means that we do not respond to other people out of bitterness or anger or jealousy or malice. We're kind. We treat people kind. Be kind to one another. Treat other people the way that you want to be treated. Have you ever noticed how contagious kindness is? When you're kind to someone, you ever notice how, at least most of the time, they respond to that in a positive way? And many times when we're kind to someone, what do they do in return? They're kind to someone else. And it's kind of a contagious thing. One of the things become popular these days is random acts of kindness. That's a good thing to do, to be kind to one another. Have you ever noticed how kindness makes you feel so much better when you're kind to people? And you notice how it makes that other person feel so much better as well. So be kind to one another. The second thing Paul says is to be tender-hearted. Some translate that as compassionate, and that's what tender-hearted means, is to be compassionate. A tender heart is one that responds in love. A tender heart is one that looks for the good in other people. A tender heart is one that is a giving heart. So be kind to one another. Tender-hearted, not hard-hearted. And the third thing he says is forgive one another. Someone once said, you know, all you need is two people to have conflict. I actually amend that statement, and I say all you need is one person, because a lot of times we're conflicted with ourselves. We only need ourselves to have a conflict. The truth is, we have all been wronged at some point in life. And let me tell you another truth. We have all wronged someone in life. Not only do we need to forgive others, there are others who need to forgive us for what we have done as well. You know, forgiveness is a key ingredient of life. The Bible has a lot to say about forgiveness. One of the main parts of biblical forgiveness is that our forgiveness is based upon God's forgiveness of us. And that's what Paul alludes here to. He says, forgive one another just as God in Christ Jesus has forgiven you. How are we to forgive others? As God has forgiven us. Well, how has God forgiven us? Completely and totally, without any condition whatsoever. You know, we did absolutely nothing to deserve God's forgiveness. God forgave us simply based on His grace. You know, people should not have to deserve our forgiveness. We are to forgive others based on the grace of God. we are to forgive others totally and completely. So here are the 3 ingredients for life. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, and forgive one another just as God in Christ Jesus has forgiven you. Wouldn't the world be a much better place if we all followed that principle of life?